In a reality where arms races are a fact of life, no less constant and present than the air we breathe, we can often spot one side telling the other, whatever you can do, I can do it a whole lot better. The Shahed 136 is Iran's response to the massive investments and advancements in drone warfare in the West. Despite being capable of flying for thousands of kilometers, avoiding detection and delivering explosive payloads, this drone is most often commended for its excellent cost effectiveness, as the weapons used to down the Shahed are usually more expensive than the $30,000 drone. This makes it an attractive proposition for any warmonger looking to save a bit on their air capabilities. The Shahed 136 developed the reputation of a nightmare drone in Ukraine because it's been able to penetrate Ukrainian lines despite being a fairly low-tech piece of weaponry. But is it really as good as the headlines say? Just before we continue, a word from our wonderful sponsor. Here's something unusual and actually pretty brilliant. It's called The Book, The Ultimate... Listen to how thick that's a good sounding book. It's called The Book, The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding Civilization. 400 pages, 180 topics. We'll open it around a page as we always do with these ads. Let's do somewhere near the end today. Whoa, what's this? Is that about the human body? Oh, it is. Look at this. It's beautifully illustrated. This is all about breathing. Look at that. Look how nicely illustrated that is. We'll find another page. If you really want to hear about it. I don't know what this one is. This is the first time it's happened. This one's blank. There's going to be a reason for that. I haven't come across it yet, but beautiful illustration there. Look at that. Every page. Very nice. It's weird, it's dense, and it's probably the most beautifully designed book that you'll ever hold. This thing was a top Kickstarter project, raising over $2 million, and it shows. The print quality, the binding, even the paper. It's all just overkill in the best way. Listen to that. Sounds really good. But what's actually inside is what makes it great. Inventions, discoveries, ideas that shape the modern world. It doesn't just tell you how civilization works, it makes you want to rebuild it from scratch in a good way. So if you want to give someone a Christmas gift that'll outlast the wrapping paper and spark actual curiosity, this is it. Go to Mega Christmas 10 and you'll get a special holiday discount. And now back to today's episode. Design. Now, Iran started developing drones more intensely in the mid-2000s when it entered the second stage of its drone program, and the 136 model is a continuation of the older and less developed 131. Both are designed with delta wings, which is just a technical way of saying that the wings are triangular, extending from the central fuselage. If one ever happens to crash in your backyard, you'll spot 4 fins to the rear, 2 per each wing. If it's crashing in your backyard, maybe you should move. At the ends of the wings, you'll find vertical wing stabilizers, which were changed from the 131 model. The older model stabilizers extended above the wings, but the 136's stabilizers extend both above and below, which, of course, is better for stability. The Shahed 136 is almost entirely made from fiberglass, but the same cannot be said for Russia's version. Russia adopted the weapon system, and they've been using it extensively in Ukraine, while also making their design their own. One thing they've done is put carbon fiber into the Shahed, which they've designated the Garan 2, the Garan 1 being the designation of the older Shahed model in Russia. So, in both the Russian and the Iranian iterations, the wings of the drone, they're 2.5 meters or 8 feet 2 inches across, and the entire body is 3.5 meters or about 11 feet 6 inches long, and it weighs about 200 kilograms or 440 pounds. The warhead alone accounts for about a quarter of the weight, and this is actually a lot heavier than most warheads in loitering munitions. Israel's Harpy, for example, only packs a 32-kilogram warhead, while the US's Hero comes with a 4.5-kilogram warhead. The reason the Shahed 136 comes with so much explosive power is its lack of accuracy. Since it can rarely hit its targets with pinpoint accuracy, the engineers ensured that the punch it delivered would be strong enough and cover a wide enough area to deal sufficient damage anyway. Located just behind the nose cone, which acts as an aerodynamic cover, the things that make the drone go boom are traditional explosive fragmentation warheads, shaped charge warheads, and thermobaric warheads. The Russians, however, they switched up the formula, as the Garan 2 may contain up to 90 kilograms of warhead, almost doubling the amount of exploding munition and vastly improving the devastating effects. According to some reports, Russia has also started packing its warheads with tungsten ball shrapnel, similar to the GMLRS warheads used with the M270 multiple launch rocket systems, which is in service across the world. This is a relatively new type of munition, which can cause damage to a large area by exploding about 10 meters above the ground, covering the area with hundreds of thousands of tiny tungsten and rocket fragments. This is a terrifying anti-infantry weapon, as a 90-kilogram warhead can contain close to 200,000 tungsten fragments. Russia's production of this drone is completely independent from Iran, and aside from making changes to the warhead and the very materials used for building it, they also made changes to the electronics. These drones cannot be piloted remotely, and their target coordinates are all predetermined. Normally, the Shahed 136 uses a navigation system, such as the GPS system, to navigate, but the Russian version of the drone uses Russia's GLONASS navigation system, which, simply put, is Russia's own version of GPS. They also introduced the Kometa satellite navigation module and a state-of-the-art anti-jamming system, which suppresses satellite jamming. In 2024, Ukrainian forces shot down a Gerin 2 that a Starlink system to ensure internet connectivity in Ukrainian airspace. This was presumably done to maintain a stable real-time video connection. On top of that, an upgraded version of the drone appeared in Ukraine in the summer of 2025, one that included an infrared camera and an onboard computer that allowed video processing and for it to autonomously locate targets. All of these upgrades were made only on the drones produced in Russia. The Iranian version of the Shahed still has an inertial guidance system with no reports of autonomous guiding systems, cameras, anti-jamming tech, or the tungsten ball shrapnel munitions. One of the few identical things that's found in both the Russian and the Iranian version of the drone is the engine. Both use an MD-550 two-bladed propeller engine, which ensures a range of at least 2,000 kilometers, and in some cases 2,500. It's about 1,600 miles, and it travels at a max speed of 185 kilometers an hour, or 115 miles per hour. A war of finances. Now, the design of the Shahed 136 is exceptional at one thing, and that's returning the investment. It costs Iran between $10,000 and $30,000 to build a single drone, and in 2022, they sold truckloads of them to Russia for $193,000 per drone, which obviously is quite a nice profit. That is, until Russia started producing their own drones, which cost between $30,000 and $80,000, a significant growth in overall cost, but something that's understandable given the many improvements that Russian engineers made upon the initial design. In comparison, cruise missiles and tactical missiles, which often have the same long-range capabilities, have prices ranging up to $3 million, and that price gap is the strongest point in the entire Shahed 136 program. It should be pointed out that those very same missiles blow the 136 out of the water. They're much quicker and much more difficult to intercept, often carrying 10 times greater payloads than the Shahed, but the Shahed was ultimately designed for precision strikes on small areas, not for removing entire hills from the landscape. At the same time, the 136 is much easier to operate, and it's less logistically demanding, especially regarding launching. So with that in mind, the 136 offers long-range capabilities at an affordable price, which is ideal for less developed countries that want to do a bit of conquering but can't afford the logistics and material costs of really expensive cruise missiles. In War of Economics, the user of the Shahed 136 will usually end the day with a thicker wallet than the user of anti-air and man-portable air defense systems. Man-pred prices range from at least $20,000 to $100,000, while air-to-air and surface-to-air missiles, both of which can be used against the Shahed 136, rarely come for less than $100,000. That doesn't even account for the price of the operating platforms, the radar and surveillance stations, and of course the personnel who are manning those stations. The increasing use of drones put them at the center of military strategy, and according to the budget theorem, high-tech workers could be beaten by low-cost, low-tech weapons if their numbers are great enough. And that certainly seems to be Russia's plan with their Gerin 2s, as they committed to producing upwards of 6,000 of them in an attempt to bleed Ukraine's finances. Performance and combat history. So the most well-known engagement of the Shahed 136 is, of course, in Ukraine, where it was used and is still being used at the time of recording for various purposes. Even though the Shahed 136 is a relatively simple and crude drone, it still presents quite a few challenges for the defending forces to deal with. The primary purpose of the Shahed 136 is to, of course, damage stationary enemy infrastructure and personnel, and they're never used against mobile targets because of their lack of accuracy. Russian forces also use them for testing the strength of Ukrainian anti-air defenses before launching much more powerful missiles. The 136 is launched from a rail with a disposable rocket attached to the drone for the initial part of takeoff. They can launch real quick, and the launch ramp is very easy to set up in the bed of a common pickup truck, which makes the entire weapon system highly mobile. Several Shahed can be launched at the same time, with a few launchers allowing the formation of swarms, which was one of the methods Russia relied on to overwhelm Ukraine's defenses. Another issue Ukrainian forces face is the difficulty of locating the launch position. By the time anti-air defenses realize they have incoming threats, the launch platform, it's already moved on. Detecting incoming Shaheds is also a challenge because the program flight paths for these drones is very low to the ground, which makes them impossible to spot on radar, while it also increases endurance, which translates to a longer flight time. Ground defenses can hardly detect them, so relying on air assets was the logical choice for the Ukrainians, but not with much success. A Ukrainian MiG-29 said that the drone looked similar to a flock of birds on radar, and the overall interception rate varies between 65 and 85%, which means that Ukraine still doesn't have a way of absolutely securing its airspace against the Shaheds. One way that yielded positive results was by simply relying on sightings. Citizens of Ukraine use an app to report sightings of the drones, and while eyewitness accounts can be unreliable, it is definitely better than nothing. A more effective way was developed by two engineers, proving that war really is a catalyst of human ingenuity. Many soldiers reported that while Shahed's thermal signature can't reveal its location, the drone is still fairly loud and troops can hear it coming from really far away. By using about 10,000 microphones, the prices of which range from just $4 to $500, and networking them through a computer, turning data into flight plans, Ukrainian forces managed to improvise an acoustic radar alternative. Dubbed the Sky Fortress, the system has been so effective the United States military showed interest in adopting and developing it further, as the total value of the surprisingly effective system is less than that of a pair of Patriot missiles. Detecting the Shahed 136 is seemingly more difficult than taking it down. Ukrainian soldiers reported that small arms fire can down the drone, proving that it's not well armored, but it's difficult even for top marksmen to hit a drone speeding above their heads at more than 100 miles an hour. Ukraine possesses R-73 heat-seeking missiles and R-27R semi-active radar homing missiles, which are natural deterrents for the Shahed. They both come with a set of issues, though. The R-73 cannot lock onto targets inside clouds, and the R-27R requires a dangerously close approach. Ukrainian aircraft can only shoot them down in broad daylight using their 30mm cannons, which is the most risk-averse method. Even then, however, the aircraft itself can be shot down. This happened to one pilot in October of 2022 when a Shahed 136 detonated close to his MiG-29 and the shrapnel destroyed the cockpit. The pilot did manage to eject, but the aircraft was lost, and aircraft are really expensive. In some cases, if the Shahed gets close enough to civilian areas and a pilot spots it, the pilot won't even open fire out of fear of harming civilians. They'll instead inform the air defenses of the incoming threat and let them take the drone out. Even when that happens, though, there's always a danger of the fragments, which include the warhead falling over populated areas and harming civilians, which means that even in its death, the Shahed can deal potentially serious damage. Generally speaking, the most effective weapon systems against the Shahed 136 are the SA-8 missile, the old reliable ZSU-23-4, and the German Flakpanzer Gepard self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. According to the Ukrainian Defense Attaché in the United States, these weapons have proven extremely effective, but if value for money is taken into account, well, the picture changes. The DSHK machine gun has been proven as the most cost-effective way of dealing with the Shaheds. The 12.7mm rounds are more than powerful enough to penetrate the drone's light armor, and to remain effective at night, Ukrainian operators fitted their machine guns with thermal imaging, or in some cases searchlights, similar to the way anti-aircraft guns operated during the Second World War. With time, Ukraine transitioned to using anti-drone interception drones with the Shaheds. The exact models and specifications of these drones are classified to prevent Russian forces from further adapting their drones to counter them, but it was reported in the summer of 2025 that 9 out of 10 Shahed drones downed by Ukrainian forces are in fact downed by these drones, which have now become the primary anti-Shahed weapon in their arsenal. Despite Ukrainian forces finding ways to detect and down the Shaheds, the drones are still finding ways to penetrate Ukrainian defenses, and the method lies in numbers. As mentioned earlier, Shaheds are often launched in swarms, and no matter how good the operators of anti-air defenses are, if there are too many targets in the sky, some of them will get past the rain of bullets and counter drones reaching their goal and detonating. It's been reported that Russia launched more than 2,600 Shahed 136 drones at Ukraine over a 6-month period in 2024. Even though Ukraine intercepted and destroyed 80% of them, some of them still got through by just the sheer law of numbers. In February of 2025, Russia was launching an average of 140 Shahed drones every single day, and the ones breaking through Ukrainian lines proved that swarm attacks still work to a degree. So to answer the titular question today, is the Shahed 136 any good? Well, all you got to do is look at the bottom line. In the beginning of Russia's use of these drones during the invasion of Ukraine, the Ukrainian budget always ended in a net negative. The Shahed 136 was initially successful at avoiding detection, and even when Ukraine developed means to detect it, the weapons used to down it were more expensive than the drone itself. After enough trials and many errors, however, Ukraine found a cost-effective way to take the Shahed down, which admittedly is still not perfect, but it is still largely effective as it shoots down most Shaheds launched at the defending country. And with that in mind, and while remembering that these drones are very easy to launch and incredibly cheap to produce, we can say that they have, in fact, proven to be good, as long as they're used in swarms. But the defending forces, no matter who they are always going to find a cost-effective way to down them eventually. But this isn't the end of the story, as new drones, dubbed the Shahed 238, have recently appeared in Ukraine, seemingly outperforming the older models. And we will, of course, break it down in a video as soon as more information is available. And with that, thank you for watching.